Welcome to the 8th grade Math Homework Helper Series. Tonight's homework is SP-5, Patterns of Data. We'll be taking a look at questions 3 and 4. Question number 3. A video store owner determined that a number of times a particular movie is rented is associated with the number of weeks since it was first released. The linear model below is a good representation of this association. So first of all, we're asked to write a linear equation for this model, and I've broken that into a couple of smaller steps. We need to find the slope, the y-intercept, and then we can write the equation. So to find the slope, first thing we want to do is figure out this line. Where does it cross nicely at intersections on this graph? And we can see it starts at 20, so that's a good spot to choose. And then it doesn't cross nicely on any point in the graph again until we get down here to 5. So if we start at 20, we're going down, so that's going to be a negative. But how many down do we go? 5, 10, 15 down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, or to the right, excuse me. So it's 15 down, 5 to the right. So that's going to be a negative 15 over 5, which reduces to a negative 3. So we have a slope of negative 3. The y-intercept is a little easier to find because all we have to do is look at the y-axis, and we can see that the line crosses the y-axis at 20. So our y-intercept would be 0, 20. And we can take those and put them into an equation. Y equals negative 3x plus 20. What does the slope represent? Well, a slope of negative 3 would represent the amount of videos that are necessary to watch. In this case, they need 20 videos, and then as the first week goes by, they need about 17. As the second week goes by, they need about 14. And so for every week that goes by, there are 3 less of the movie that get rented. What does the y-intercept represent? What does 20 represent? Well, 20 seems to be the starting point for the number of rentals. So 20, when a movie is first released, they need about 20 copies because that's how many that will want to be rented. Okay, let's take a look at question number 4. Last semester, Ms. Hollis collected data to determine the association between her students' television viewing the day before an exam and their final grades on the exam. The equation, y equals 100 minus 8x, was a good linear model for determining y, a student's final grade on the exam, after watching TV for x hours the night before. So in the problem, we've already been told what the y value is and what the x value is. X is watching TV for how many hours, and the y value is the grade. So let's start with part A. If a student spends 4.5 hours watching TV the night before the next exam, what grade does the linear model predict the student will receive? Well, taking the equation y equals 100 minus 8x, we then plug 4.5 for x, and that gives us 100 minus 36, so y equals 64. And that means the linear model predicts that a student who spends 4.5 hours watching TV the night before the exam can expect to earn a grade of 64. What type of association is this linear model? Well, we know that x always increases, and so in this case, as x is increasing, as the number of hours of TV are increasing, the score is decreasing. And so when x is increasing and y is decreasing, that's a negative association. What does the slope represent in this model? Well, there's the slope right there, negative 8. And so what that's saying is at a base score of 100, every hour that you watch TV, you are losing 8 points. If a student starts out with a grade of 100, he or she will lose 8 points for each hour of TV the student watches. And what does the y-intercept represent? The y-intercept of 100 represents the possible grade a student can get if they watch no TV the night before the exam. A grade of 0 would be expected at how many hours of watching TV? Well, if we take this equation and we start out with the idea that 0 equals 100 minus 8x, and then solve out the equation, subtract 100 from both sides, divide by negative 8, we wind up with 12.5x. And so a grade of 0 would be expected at watching 12.5 hours of TV. Please use the homework that was done for you tonight to solve the additional problems that are on your homework. Remember, The key to success in math is not just working hard, but working smart.